What's up guys, it's your boy Mantis here, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of the best parkour spots and critical ops defuse maps. Keep in mind that these are not spots that require some disconnect glitch or someone to boost you. You can just reach these spots with a little swift jumping and even use them in a rank or scrim. We're going to be looking at all types of difficulties on most of the maps, so if you do learn something from this video, I'd appreciate it if you leave a like and subscribe so I can continue making these videos. After this video, I'm going to try and record a wallbang series where we look at different wallbang spots on certain maps that you might not know about. So let me know in the comments if you want to see something like this in the future. With that all said, let's get right into this video. So before we hop into the parkour spots, I want to show you guys how you can check if parkour is an option. First, you need to make sure that it's actually possible to get up there on your own somehow, whether it's by jumping off various objects or just trying to get lucky timing. To make sure that a spot is actually reachable, you can try throwing a gun up there. If your gun can land on the object, then there's no invisible wall that prevents you from landing on it. However, you have to keep in mind that it might still not be possible to land up there without dying. For example, this spot on canals can be reached, but if you try to jump on this lamppost, you will die because of the death barrier because you're going to be too high up. Now that you know how to find your own parkour spots, let's get into some of the ones that I want to show you. To start us off, we're going to be looking at Bureau. Now unfortunately the map has been updated over the years, so a lot of the parkour spots that used to exist don't anymore. The only spot that I could think of is getting on top of these scanners that spawn. The easiest way to do this is to try and aim for the blue handprint and perform a double jump off of it, and it should launch you up onto the top of the scanners every time. This spot isn't really useful unless you're trying to cover a flank from banana or mid, because it's all the way back in your spawn. Moving on to the next map, we're going to be taking a look at Grounded. First, I wanted to show you guys this spot at A long. If you could get a good running head start, you could jump on top of this spool. Although I don't recommend using it in the beginning of the round, it's definitely a good late game spot for holding storage or A mid. As a T-sided player, they'll never be pre-aiming up there. They'll most likely be checking the bottom part of the spool or the oil truck, so you should be able to catch them off guard. The next spots are more commonly used, which are the sign spots. You can get on top of this sign in A mid by standing on this chair and then jumping onto the sign. From here you can see B long, B mid, and a part of the snow pile area by B side. If you jump up on this B mid sign, you can see connector. One other spot that I never see people use is this luggage sign spot in B mid. To get on top of the luggage sign, you can just double jump off one of these pieces of luggage. When you're on top of this sign, you can see this corner inside cafe. The good part about this spot is that the T-sided players will not be able to see you because of the ceiling unless they push out, but you'll be able to see like their legs and below, and you can get a clear angle on them from this sign. Moving on to a more interesting map, we're going to take a look at Legacy. First, we look at the spot over towards lobby. If you jump off of this desk, you can land on the edge of this poster type thing and kind of just glide on it. Notice how my movement pad is towards the right the entire time. Since this ledge isn't wide enough for you to stand on, you have to keep moving towards the wall or else you'll slide off. This will mess up your aim, but if you're using a shotgun then it shouldn't be a problem. And this angle can be actually pretty useful if you just want to watch the flank while your teammates plan at B or something. A lot of these next spots are going to be based off of these lamps. As you can see, I can throw my gun on top of the lamp, meaning it's possible to get up there. Now a lot of these lamps have a bush nearby, meaning you can use the bush to get on top of them. Now jumping up these lamps are tricky. You have to stand on the very edge of the bush so that you have a little distance between the lamp and the bush when you jump. You don't want to be hugging the lamp when you jump because you won't have enough momentum to climb on top of it. It might take a couple tries, but you will get up there eventually. You can even hop over to this other lamp, which is a cool angle for watching part of glass. We have a couple more lamp spots over towards news. You can hop up on this lamp from the bush and get an angle on museum and mid. This spot might not be ideal because you can easily get peeked from mid and taken out. So unless you have a smoke that you can throw like right around this area, it's probably not an ideal spot. Up next is this lamp, which is a little trickier because you need to run and jump off this tiny bush. It will take a few tries once again, but once you get it, you have a good angle on museum, and you're also concealed from the backside of mid. This spot is a lot more effective for watching the museum flank. You probably already know about this next one, but you can get on top of this case in museum. You just need to hug the wall until you jump, and you will build up enough momentum to climb on top of this case. You can even jump onto the next case for a nice angle towards news. Up next, we have some spots over towards A site. The first one is on top of the statue. Now most people think this is a useless spot, but if you have a teammate watching your bottom/connector and another watching your museum, then you can use this spot to get an angle on players rotating in from CT or pushing spiral through this glass. I would like to see someone getting kills through this angle in a tournament match, because this is really like an underrated spot and I don't see anyone using it. This next spot isn't really a parkour spot, but it's just a spot I wanted to point out. Most people don't know this, but you can actually hop on the corner of this statue. It's not really a useful spot, but if you know your opponent is museum, it's not a bad spot to just hide out on site and play for time, because they're definitely not going to expect you there. To wrap up Legacy, we're going to be taking a look at the spot in Subway. I know that you'll probably never use this spot, but maybe if you're playing hide and seek or something, you can control your friends with this spot. You can actually get on top of this vending machine, but it's really hard because this wooden panel clock thing above the trash can makes it so you can't stand or crouch on it. So you have to try and double jump at just the right time so that you can perform the second jump before you hit the panel. It will definitely take a lot of tries, but after you get it, you can land up on this corner of the vending machine and just chill out there. Moving on, we're going to take a look at some raid spots. First, I want to show you guys about these beams on B site. Most people already know they can jump onto this beam, but I bet you didn't know it's possible to jump around the beam and land on the other side of it. Now this is extremely difficult because you have like no width to run around on. You kind of just have to nail the jump each time. If you jump over to this middle part, you can actually get a nice angle on B long for post plant, as well as cover heaven from a completely unique angle. If you're lucky enough, you can even jump over one more time and land on this other side. Now this one is much harder because the barrels underneath you have an invisible wall, which make it a little bit harder to jump around the pole with just enough speed. I spent over 30 minutes trying to record making this jump, but I stopped recording because I almost ran out of storage. And when I finally made it up here, I had to turn the recording back on so I could show you guys what it looks like up here. You can see B long even better from this spot, and no one would ever pre-aim this angle. To conclude our raid parkour spots, we have these blue garbage bins. The one by CT is harder to get on because you have to be full on sprinting and hit the corner at just the right angle. If you're lucky enough, you'll land on the container. You have to be careful because you can't go in this corner behind the container anymore since the character models are bigger. So if you fall inside this gap, you're going to be stuck there and you won't be able to move for the rest of the round. The other garbage bin spot is much easier to get on because it's not as tall as the other one. This is the one over by gravel, over towards the A site. You can just do a run jump off the gravel and pretty much get it first try. From here you can watch a flank and catch people off guard. To conclude raid, I want to show you guys these trash cans in T-spawn. It's impossible to jump on them directly because they're really high and you can't really sprint out a corner due to the walls and random objects blocking you. Now most people know about this spot and they try to get up there by hopping off of the barrier right here, but I found out that you can also access it by simply jumping around this doorway and landing on the spherical pole right here. It's hard to time it right without bouncing off the door, but after a few tries you can get up here much faster than the barrier method. From up here you can even perform a running jump and get on top of the door. If you've ever seen an Ultimate video in your life, then you probably already know about this door spot. To conclude our diffuse maps, we're going to take a look at port. If you ever watch my streams or anything, I'm sure you know about this spot over at mid. This is a simple strafe jump. You just have to hop around the pole and you'll land on this orange structure. It's a nice angle for holding A long as no one will expect it. You can also hop on the base of these white towers by mid. This one can be accessed by just jumping onto it from the orange structure. There's also another one by A long that you can hop on if you run jump off this barrier. Up next, I want to show you guys a spot by T long. You can hop on the corner of these wooden panels from the tire and watch the B long flank from here. This is definitely going to be an unexpected spot if someone is trying to flank you. This next spot is probably one you all know about, but you can hop on this barrel in the back of A long by running along this blue crate and jumping off. It's really hard to do, but if you're lucky enough to get it early on in your game, then you should try using it to watch the B long flank. Up next we have another wooden panel spot, but this one can be used for CT players. Most of you know that you can hop on top of this forklift over by the garage, but I bet you didn't know that you can jump off the forklift and land on this wooden panel right here. This is a neat little spot for watching the A long push, and I can guarantee you it will not be expected by your opponents. To wrap up our port spots, we'll be looking at some B long positions. You can get on the corner of this red crate holder by spamming the jump button when you climb up onto the base. You can only stand on the corner and nowhere else, so it's going to be hard to try and get good footing. But if you get used to the spot, you can actually watch the A long cross from the side of the map and even get a pick or two early on in the round. Finally, I wanted to show you guys a good spot for post plant. Some people like to plant behind the box and watch the bomb from B-long, but I bet you guys didn't know that you can actually jump up on the corner of this box. You can watch the bomb from here as well as head glitch on this sign. This isn't the best spot because your opponent will be able to shoot your legs the whole time, but it will be a nice off angle that you can use once in a while. That is going to wrap up this episode of Parkour Spots. I left some obvious or useless ones out intentionally because I thought there was no point in me repeating them, but if you guys discover any new spots, be sure to let me know. I also know a lot of cool parkour for TDM maps, so if you guys think it would be cool to just explore the TDM maps and do some fun parkour in them, let me know and maybe I'll make another parkour video that's only for TDM maps. If you learned something new in this video, I'd appreciate it if you leave a like and subscribe and tell me your favorite spot from this video in the comments down below. Thank you for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.